critical. I actually got a bus that didn't pull into the supermarket, the shopping centre area, because it has to divert off the main road, so it sort of extends the trip by a minute or two. It's a bit of a hassle, a couple of minutes, but this one actually went direct down Mulgrave Road. Very rare. I just seem to always cop the wrong bus, but today I didn't. So I got all my crap together. It'll be interesting. I'm pretty well sure I got my webcam. I got my cargo shorts and my webcam. So it'll be interesting to see if it works okay, because I had no luck with a microphone that went through the back of the actual computer. The colour-coded section, so it goes into the green plug at the rear for audio. That didn't work at all, and I know that that particular microphone had worked in the past, but it does require a battery, and I don't know whether the battery had gone flat. That's a hassle. That's why it's better to just get a USB, which presumably gets its power via directly from the computer. I'm assuming that's how they work anyway. But it's all in one little unit that clips on the top of my monitor, so that should at least now make me able to. I think I can use Skype on the computer, as well as on the main computer, as well as on the laptop, and of course I should get on my tablet too when I think about it. Finally worked out the Samsung tablet today too. Just finally got that sort of working. There was a few bugs there. I tried to get a podcast yesterday, couldn't do it, but today it seemed to work fine. Slightly different way of doing it. It does seem to be a better looking unit. It's actually slightly smaller because there's less border around the actual screen. And yeah, so far so good. We'll see how it goes on multitasking when I get OS. And I'm toying with the idea of maybe getting a Bluetooth keyboard that because it has got Bluetooth capability as well, so then I can use it for typing messages, emails and the like. Yeah, it's a bit hard when you're just using the actual screen, so I'll see what's available. There's a lot of cheap items online, so it won't cost me much. Just I hope I don't have to go to bloody Westcourt to actually pick it up. It's the only hassle. I can actually nominate to use a locker in the city, but the trouble is that we're broken into by kids the other day. So yeah, it's blowing an absolute gale today. Another windy day here. Nothing new there for you guys, I guess. And I actually checked out my new webcam today. Little webcam combination microphone and camera. The hardest thing was to get it in the right position, because it doesn't clip onto my actual monitor screen. It's the monitor screen's too thick for it, so the clip doesn't work. So I had to jerry-build it onto an empty yogurt container, and that seems to work okay. And I spoke to a friend in Brisbane today, and it all went very well. They've had better weather than us, because we had a shocking weekend. Hardly any sun. A little bit today, but not much. So it's almost 3 days running. And of course a constant wind, that's just a given. But yeah, the webcam's $17 webcam, works fine. It's not the highest resolution, it's not high def, but you don't need that for a webcam. It did the job, and he could hear me clearly, and yeah, it was good. He also clarified that he's actually going to have to look after 28 units in his new job. It didn't make sense, it was only 6. It was 6 for power or something. He had to look after them for electricity or something like that. But the bulk of it, he's got 28 units he's going to look after, and he earns a decent living sort of wage. Yeah, it looks it's a beautiful day today. Actually, it's not much wind, and it's sunny. Kid you not, it's been about a week since we've had weather like this, so this is just perfect. It's going to be a nice day today. And the weather in Melbourne, oh my God, it's looking horrible. I think today's going to be the best day, and that's going to be a top of 13 degrees, and then you're looking at 11 degrees, I think, on either tomorrow or Saturday. And then going up to a balmy 12, I think, top temperature the day after. Oh, I've got no regrets leaving Melbourne, I'll tell you. But actually what I wanted to talk about was an escalation in the culture wars that are taking place, especially in the States, between the nationalists and the globalists. And the global elites in Hollywood have really thrown down the gauntlet with a new film called The Hunt, which is about a whole, I think a dozen deplorables are being kidnapped by Hollywood elites, or at least East coastal elites, who basically hunt them down for sport. And so it's a pretty controversial theme for a movie, especially after several mass shootings in the States. But I've got to say, it pretty well mirrors what's going on in America. Some people are saying it's close to civil war over there. I don't think that's necessarily an exaggeration at this stage. I think there's a lot of tension building up, and the left has gone totally insane and alienating themselves from the centre, and you know, very, very dangerous times, I think, and I don't think that is an exaggeration. You get a lot of that online, but in this case I think it's well founded. And the Universal Studio, who are producing this particular film, are very worried about doing it now, given what's just happened with those massacres. And but it does actually represent reality, and it's made by the same people who produced The Loudest Voice, which was about Roger Ailes, who took over the Fox network, or basically set it up, I should say, the Fox Business Network, or the Fox News Network, back in the early 90s, I think it was, or mid 90s. But that started off as being a fairly balanced look at this guy, and saying how he'd actually been successful at Fox in the first episode. But then it basically was a hatchet job about his about how he'd been exploiting women in the company, and that was all basically all negative after that, even though what he'd actually achieved was quite amazing in the context of the actual media business. Now, that's not to say he wasn't doing sleazy stuff, so I would have liked a more balanced look overall. But the trouble is, after that first episode, for the next 5 episodes, it's basically been a hatchet job. And I don't know all the details about Roger Ailes. Obviously he had issues, and he didn't he alienated certain people, but he also created a lot of loyalty. But that aspect of his life is just being totally ignored in these episodes, and it's focused entirely on the negative, and that's what pisses me off. Life isn't like that. Life is about balance, and it's shades of it's not black and white, it's shades of grey generally. That's the reality. And I think it's a Showtime production, so very disappointing for Showtime to go with a script like that. And as I say, I still stand by what I said about Russell Crowe's performance. I thought it was excellent. So I don't have a problem with him as an actor, but I certainly have a big problem with the script and the production of it. But the point is, it's not badly made, which is even worse, because that means it's more influential. I prefer it as absolute crap, but it isn't. Artistically, it's quite well put together, and you've got people like Seth MacFarlane, who's quite a talented guy. He's part of the cast too. So there's good people involved, and what makes me think is, I looked at the trailer for this new film called The Hunt. Supposed to be a satire, but the trailer was very short, and there was absolutely no humour in it whatsoever. So that didn't indicate there was any comedy. It looked like it's just basically an exploitation, violent film, and we don't even know who the hero is, because if usually in a situation like that, the people who are abducted ended up being the heroes. They're the targets of these madmen, and women are trying to hunt them down. So usually in a case like that, the victims are the ones that you empathise with, and it's sort of ironic that the victims in this case are from blue states, or red states I should say, and and the perpetrators are actually Democrats, elite Democrats. So you wouldn't think they'd be getting much sympathy with the audience. So it's an interesting, I don't know how that plays out, and Tim Pool spoke about it and was very worried about it. And he also made that point, which side is this film going to be on? There's really no indication from what we've seen. It's very, very short trailers. They're useless basically in telling you much about it. But given the track record of these people after seeing The Loudest Voice, somehow I think there's going to be maybe a secondary twist where the elites come out to be the good guys. I'm sure, but that could really infuriate a lot of people. Apart from alienating the audience, conservative audience, it could really be could ignite a fire that may not be we may not be able to put out. California itself is a state of extremes. It's got the largest number of poor people in the country, and the difference, the income inequality is huge. So that is not the sort of place you want to start from, where you might start to incite people into thinking, well, you know, we're dispossessed. Democrats are doing nothing for us. We might just lash out. Someone arms these people. Who knows? You know, anything's possible. There's a lot of permutations here, and I think Tim Pool is right that you know, there are a lot of dangers with this, and he's sort of talking about it, even for a libertarian like him, he thinks maybe this film should be banned. I don't think that's the solution actually, because I think the market will sort it out if it's a crappy film. But I think it'll be an important film whichever way it goes, because it will galvanise people. But unfortunately in this scenario it could galvanise them into violence, because we've already had all the talking, and what other options are left? Yeah, this could be the flashpoint. When we look back in history, this could be it, this film. But again, as I said, it accurately portrays what's happening in America right now. Jeez, imagine that. A civil war in the new millennium in America. Whew. Nasty stuff. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.